Hello. Welcome to the 20th of Decem-Baron 2020. If you were curious about my cello performance for earlier today, it went well, I thought. I got a few nice compliments about it. My wife also sang as part of that, and she got some good compliments as well. And yeah, it's been a pretty good Sunday for me so far. I hope it's been the same for you. If not, I hope you found something to be grateful for today. So today I'm going to talk about the Pokemon Crux campaign. And I actually have several things that I want to show you. This was a... it's kind of crazy how this campaign even happened. I was in some RP server by mere happenstance, by some connections I had on Discord. And from that RP server, which that server is not active anymore, but there were some people in there who really wanted to do a Pokemon Dungeons & Dragons campaign. And not so much like Dungeons & Dragons into Pokemon, it's like Pokemon as a tabletop role-playing game, like actually playing a legitimate Pokemon adventure. And so I thought, oh, that'd be cool to do. So there are a couple of different fan-made tabletop RPGs out there, specifically for the Pokemon setting. The first one I came across was Pokemon Tabletop Adventures, or I think, yeah, Pokemon Tabletop Adventures, I'm pretty sure. It expects the game master to do a lot, basically to be the programming, to calculate everything for every single Pokemon and everything. It was a challenge. It was something a bit different. There were a few similarities with Dungeons and Dragons, but anyway, I decided that for this one. For this game, like, I asked the players what kind of Pokemon adventure they wanted, and they wanted a few things that you don't really get from the mainline Pokemon games, from Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Sword, Shield, that kind of thing. And so they wanted intrigue, they wanted mysteries to solve, they wanted puzzles, they wanted ruins, they wanted different things, and they wanted their favorite Pokemon to be found in whatever region we used. I decided to make my own region, almost entirely from scratch. And, starting with a blank page is always intimidating. So, to start off, I decided to use the Curse of Strahd Barovia setting, the Barovia setting from Curse of Strahd, as a starting point. And to go from there, but to make it a bit more lighthearted, but still keep the basic ideas of mystery and, with just about everything. So I took the map of Barovia in the Curse of Strahd campaign, and I flipped it upside down and decided to make that the map of the new region. I was going to call it the Baron region, but I felt that was too on the nose. So I decided to call it the Barov region, and essentially make it the exact same place as Barovia, except hundreds and hundreds of years into the future, and the Curse of Strahd is not really there anymore, except there's a vestige there that threatens the region. But yeah, there's still a lot of ghost Pokemon and a lot of mystery and things like that, which I'll get into in a bit. I'll also say that while I will give some basic pointers on what happened in the campaign itself, the players for this campaign, more than most other players I run games for, care a lot about their characters, and so I don't want to infringe upon their rights for their characters. I will say their characters' names, but beyond that, I won't say much more. But just know that I made a region, and along with all the different towns, the landmarks, a basic idea of what type of Pokemon you would see in what areas of each region, what the gym battles were, what the gym who the gym trainers would be, what the gym challenges would be, the Elite Four, and all that kind of thing. I'm actually going to show you a few things. So let me move off to the side here, and so here you see the map that I made. I used the website called Incarnate. With INK at the beginning, Incarnate. I think it's incarnate.com or something. But yeah, I had access to a premium plan. It is free to use, but the premium plan has more assets, and I think I used a few of those for this particular map. But yeah, so if you're familiar with Curse of Strahd, you can see how, like, where the main roads are, the bodies of water, the rivers, the lakes, the mountains, all of those are essentially the same but upside down. North is south, south is north in this case. And and there are about three or four settlements in Curse of Strahd, and I have a settlement in each of those places, but I've added a few more, and I've made this place more lively. And so I'll explain essentially what, like, each of these, generally what's going on here. Actually, well, I mean, I have a whole thing of notes too, and I'll go over that as well. But yeah, so this is the map I created. Most of the players started in Mon. Then you can go up Route 1 and turn to Route 2 and to Tussle. You can go down Radrood's Road into the Radrood itself, and there's a mansion there with some red crystals. Across Route 3 to Vaden. Then down Route 4. And that you walk past the Radshakel ruins, and you also have Hollow Retreat here next to Lake Merk. You have Lake Dennercruel here. There's also a ruins out here called Morkind's Burk. I have a mysterious crater here called Essenblom with sort of like a volcanic bump right here, along with a cherry blossom tree surrounded by blue crystals. But yeah, so you have the town of Thurg here in this crossroads. If you take Route 5, you go to Fright. If you follow Feta Trail, you could walk by the Superior Winery and also make it to Feta Hill. If you go along Route 6, you'll eventually make it to the sort of marshy city town of Sadra. There's an old man named Gara who lives here in Gara's hut. Route 7 essentially goes all the way around Mount Bandon here. Route 7 and Route 1 connect to Sund, and then you have the ascent, which leads into Mount Bandon, and Mount Bandon is where the Elite Four reside. There's also an icy island called Evis Isle. So, yeah, that's basically the region in general. Oh yeah, there's also a Camp Zeingeheim here with some kind of cult fanatics living out there. And then also Regal Rock is this, well, it's a rock of a regal figure, essentially. But yeah, I have extensive notes here. I also use the Discord bot Tupperbox to kind of have different characters like speak and everything. Now, I had a basic design in mind for each of the NPCs in this campaign. And I naturally, picked up images from the internet to kind of give an idea of what they look like. Every single nurse at every single Pokemon Center is a Nurse Zenny, all right? And she kind of looks like this. And every officer, or most officers in the Barov region are Officer Zoe, look kind of like this. I made up some rules for a training montage and everything. I have some details about Mon, and this is sort of the professor at Mon, Professor Holly. She studies dreams and the relationship that they have with wishes, intentions, and desires. The Mon gym leader is the Poison Gym which is actually at a bar in the Drunken Fang. And the gym leader is named Giles. So he's this barkeep who, and also the gym battle. So there will be spoilers, I guess. But the gym battle. Well, when in most Pokemon games, there's some sort of gym challenge, right? That leads up to the actual fight with the gym leader itself. Well, I decided that I would have the gym leader battle have a challenge within it. Like, the gym leader battle would be unorthodox in some thematic way. So that way the challenge is the battle itself. The trainers have to be on their toes, and they don't know what the challenge is until they battle the gym leader themselves. So for this one, I decided, well, I'll get there in a little bit. But yeah, Giles is this fun-loving guy who, is kind of your friendly neighborhood barkeep. And then you have the town of Tussle, which is where most members of Team Cross kind of like are there. They're mostly bullies, kind of like Team Skull, but there is a little more to it than there is with Team Skull. There's a little more oomph to it, to that particular team, and you'll see why in a little bit. The grass gym is actually inside a laboratory run by Professor Ivy here. And the next town we have Vadon, which has the steel gym, which is in some warehouse owned by Lieutenant Bandon. Lieutenant Bandon is a fencer, and he is also a lieutenant in the police force in the Barov region in general. We move on to Thurg, and this is where the ground gym is. The ground gym is in this sort of tourist trap place called Rumble Relic Ruins, run by Ralph or Ralphie Pilgrim. Ralph is the son of a real explorer, Simon Pilgrim, but Ralph is not much for Pilgrim himself. He has this Rumble Relic Ruins, which has some escape rooms and some like kind of like Indiana Jones style Legend of the Hidden Temple kind of game show type of stuff. In his ground gym, but he doesn't explore ruins himself. There's a fossil lab in Thurg as well as Alcremi's alchemical confectionery. In the town of Fright, we have it's a very strange and sort of sleepy little town, and there is an asylum up at the top of the hill in Fright. Larkovia Asylum has quite the history with a previous gang called Team Lurk. Team Lurk, like the leader of Team Lurk, had a daughter named Zonia Sable, but Zonia, she got high up in the gang, but eventually decided that she would turn on them and be a whistleblower, and Team Lurk is now, in the time of this campaign, no more. Zonia Sable is the dark gym leader, and I basically modeled her to be a sort of film noir style detective or private eye, essentially. In Sadra, okay, so I can't take full credit for this particular idea. One of the players had the excellent idea of having a fire gym leader be just like this pizza guy, and the to battle them, you just kind of go in the back lot of your local Pizza Hut or whatever and battle them. And I decided to use that idea here instead of in this case, the pizza girl named Cassidy. And yeah, Cassidy turned out to be quite the crowd favorite among the players, actually. And one of the characters actually had a bit of a thing for Cassidy as well, and so there was a fun little romance that happened there. But yeah, so Sadra cannot afford a full gym, and so the local pizza place called Bogmeyer Grill volunteered to basically, they volunteered to fill that spot. You know, they get a bonus from the local Pokemon League, and one of their employees, Cassidy, happens to be a pretty decent Pokemon trainer, and she volunteered to be a gym leader. She got a raise because of it, and she goes into the back lot to handle the gym battles. Moving on, so there's a nursery there as well. Moving on to Sund. A lovely little ice town, kind of like the ice town in Pokemon Sword and Shield. The gym leader is a girl named Penelope, a real ice skater kind of person. I do have the source, the source for every single one of these images, by the way. So that way I can always cite the original artist. These are my personal notes, and so yeah. And the gym battle takes place in a skating rink in front of an audience. And then finally you have Feta Hill, which is sort of the last mystery gym, where we in Feta Hilltop, where there used to be like rituals and things like that by the old druids and barbarians and berserkers, but now it's a peaceful place mostly for fairy Pokemon. We have this old this gentle old gentleman named Larry, who takes care of the fairy Pokemon and does gardening around there, and a bit of a hermit. There are other settlements. Camp Zeingeheim is full of people who are fanatical about the unknown. By the way, when it comes to Pokemon and legendaries in this campaign, I did not create any new Pokemon. I took cues from what the players wanted regarding what legendaries appeared and what Pokemon would appear. And so everyone was basically able to fulfill whatever fantasy they wanted with their Pokemon team, while also exploring the world that I made. And I really wanted this region to not feel like some sort of plastic sheen kind of wonderful little world of Pokemon. I wanted it to feel a bit more real. That's why I had, Bogmire Grill be a sort of volunteer gym. That's why I had, an air of mystery to a lot of different sort of ruins area. Like this is an old place, and there's quite a bit of history all over the place. If people want to brave the possible dangers. Mount Bandon is the site of the Elite Four. Now here's the interesting thing. The Elite Four is kept entirely secret from everybody except for the higher-ups in the league itself. And so Pokemon trainers are not told who the Elite Four will be, ever. Once they earn their 8 gym badges, and they can earn their 8 gym badges in any order they want, actually. The gym leaders have different teams for different levels, like, I'll show you in a little bit. But yeah, that's Mount Bandon. There's an Officer Zoe there at Mount Bandon to look over, to make sure people come with all 8 gym badges to come and, brave the unknown, essentially. The Elite Four and the Pokemon League in general felt that if a Pokemon trainer wants to become a Pokemon champion of the Barov region, they need to be able to handle the mystery of the mystery and the danger of the unknown, and not be entirely prepared for what's coming. But so be able to handle whatever challenges come their way. Superior Winery, I didn't have a whole lot there. It's just there's a winery in Cursive Strahd, and so I put the winery there. I put a lot of stuff in Essenblom, Garra's Hut, Hollow Retreat, a lot of like little secrets. I kind of like some secrets I put there from the very beginning. Other secrets I kind of put like as I went along and as things developed. I won't go into all the tremendous detail there, but the Reggies are involved. I put a Kyurem in there. There's an Entei somewhere. There's an old mill as well. It's sort of like shattered furniture and a bunch of sandy gas and Litwicks in there. Rancheco Ruins is home to a bunch of Pokemaniacs who dress like Pokemon. And they believe that they can kind of like are Pokemon in a sense. They're just like these people who are like, dude, you should totally hang out with that and all that stuff. They annoyed the players so much, and I loved it. It was all fun and games. I put a bunch of like little word puzzles for interacting with the unknown. I scattered the unknown everywhere, and they wanted to be united in Rancheco Ruins and grant a wish to anyone who did that. The Radroods. Now here is where I put a character who had become the main villain. I named him Viscount Magnus von Stradovich. He was a descendant of Count Strahd von Zarovich himself, and he wanted to reclaim his birthright as the ruler of the region. And so he became a nice like old hermit at first. He was a nice old hermit at first, with maybe if like a bit mysterious, like only sipping red wine or things like that and nothing else. But he became this really cool antagonist that that the players finally beat in the final battle after the Elite Four, and it was a wonderful moment. His butler is named Reginald. Pretty straightforward there. I saw this image and I thought, ooh, it'd be cool to just have like a gentleman's luxury ball, essentially. That's what it's basically a luxury ball, but like it's nicer than a normal luxury ball. And that's what the Viscount has. Anyway, Regal Rock is just like a landmark. Evis Isle, that's where one of the Reggies are. Regal Rock is where another one of the Reggies are, and Essenblom was where the third one was. Like I said, I did not create any new Pokemon. I had done enough world building as it was, and I decided I would not try to reinvent the wheel when it comes to Pokemon. And so I had a basic idea for the types of Pokemon that would appear in each general area as well. And I kind of made this up as I went along. But Essenblom was where you would be more likely to find fire types. Radroods was where you'd be more likely to find poison types because there's radiation coming from those red crystals and things like that. So yeah, I have all of that. The Barov Championship League. Okay, so here's what I did with that. Basically, if you had 0 badges, then the gym leader would have 2 Pokemon in this sort of level range, and you would get this much money for beating them, and so on and so forth, all the way up to your last gym battle. So yeah, this sort of system was suggested by the tabletop RPG, like the core rulebook itself, or the GM's guide or whatever. And it's a really great way to keep it open world so people can battle whichever gym leaders they want. And it will always be an appropriate challenge for them depending on how many badges they have at the time. So yeah, and this is where I put detail each of the challenges. So for the poison gym, again, spoilers here if you care about that. So Giles wants to test the challenger's wit, empathy, and intuition, skills that he uses all the time as a barkeep. And so essentially, at the start of each round, the trainer will be asked to make a drink for Giles's Pokemon. And using a selection of berries or whatever. If the Pokemon likes it, then Giles will make a drink for the trainer's Pokemon that will boost the trainer's Pokemon stats, giving them an advantage. If Giles' Pokemon hates it, though, then the opposite will happen. Giles will give the trainer's Pokemon a drink that will debuff them. If Giles' Pokemon is neutral about it, then neutral. And so I had a berry menu for the trainers to pick from, and then what the preferences of each of the Pokemon, basically, based on their nature. For the grass gym, at the start of every other round, so the Aroma Labs was a place where Professor Ivy tested all sorts of, aromas. She looks at she researches the possible scientific validity of aromatherapy. And so at the start of every other round, I rolled a 10-sided dice to determine which aroma would affect the battlefield. And you can see on the chart there, some of them are quite nasty as well. And it only affects the trainer's Pokemon because Professor Ivy's Pokemon would be used to all of these. And so, so I made all of these names up, and I created this chart for that. The Steel Gym, now this is a fun one. Lieutenant Bandon, like I said, he's a lieutenant in the police force. He leads, the Officer Zoes and any other officers in the Barov region, especially in Vaden, where the police headquarters are. He's also a fencer. He's a duelist, basically. He always has one fewer Pokemon in his team, no matter what, because he is the last Pokemon, essentially. Basically, he is a member of his own Pokemon team. And so once you beat all the rest of his team, he puts on his fencing mask. He gives the trainer a fencing mask, and the trainer and Lieutenant Bandon duke it out. Like mono a mono, basically. And so I have Lieutenant Bandon's stats, a fair challenge, scalable depending on, plus 1 level for every 3 badges they have. For the ground gym, I took a similar approach to the grass gym. So Rumble Relic Ruins has a bunch of dangerous traps and everything. And at the start of every round, I would roll on the table and I would apply the effect to the challenger's Pokemon. Ignoring the damage ignores stats and types and things like that. So just a straight up either 1d4 damage or d6 damage or things like that. I had a bit of fun with this one. With Sandstorm, EDM music plays, so that kind of thing, being silly and stupid, whatever. It's my way of showing one way of showing how Ralph Pilgrim is kind of a bit cheeky and cares about being cool, being a cool tourist having Rumble Relic Ruins being a cool tourist attraction and everything. In the Dark Gym, this was an especially fun one. What Zonia wanted to kind of test the first of all, for this challenge, the challenger is asked to sign a waiver of assurance beforehand to reassure the trainer that all is completely harmless. The Pokemon battle takes place in a room separate from where Zonia and the trainer would be. Zonia and the challenger sit in a stereotypical interrogation room, all dark except for one overhead lamp, 2 chairs and a table, that kind of thing. Only Zonia has access to the camera feed of the battle room where the Pokemon are, but the sound is on, which allows both people to clearly hear what the camera picks up, and Zonia and the trainer are able to communicate to the Pokemon what to do. But the trainer cannot see what is happening, they can only hear. Zonia's Pokemon team will be a complete mystery to the challenger, entirely. The challenger will not see what Zonia's team is. At the start of each round, the challenger will be allowed to ask one closed-ended question, a yes or no question, to Zonia. Basically, the idea is that the challenger is interrogating the gym leader. And so Zonia will answer honestly, yes or no, to it. And then, after that question, the challenger is allowed to make a guess as to what Zonia's Pokemon is. And if the guess is correct, then Zonia will recall her Pokemon and call out the next one. If the challenger is incorrect, however, the challenger's Pokemon takes damage equal to 10% of their max HP. So, yeah, basically, there's sort of a weird like everything is totally fine. Like no one is in real danger. No Pokemon is in real danger here. But just sort of that thrill of and the mystery of the interrogation room is what I wanted to do for the Dark Gym. I'm very proud of that one. I'm also proud of how I approached the Fire Gym as well. So again, I love the idea of a pizza person going in the back lot. And basically, I thought, okay, so what would so obviously a fire gym, right? You know, pizza person, a pizza girl would have fire Pokemon, fire type Pokemon. So what would the challenge be here? And I thought, wait a minute. Pizza places usually have some sort of a deal where, like, when they deliver anyway, that they will deliver within, say, 20 minutes or it's free or something like that, right? That's because, you know, the idea is that the pizza place will deliver your pizza fresh. You know, they have special insulator boxes to keep pizza fresh on the commute from the pizza place to your home. And so the idea here is that before the battle starts, Cassidy, the gym leader, will make a pizza, will stick the grill badge. By the way, I did not make these badges either. I found each of these badges on a page in DeviantArt. Yeah, I've saved the name of the artist. I just don't remember. But anyway, so I can't take credit for the badges, how they look like, or their names. But I thought they were cool. So they are fan made by a talented artist. Anyway, Cassidy makes a pizza, sticks the grill badge onto the center of the pizza, and puts the pizza in a box, and then takes that pizza box with the pizza and the badge outside into the back lot for the battle. She then explains the rules. Just beating her won't be enough. The trainer needs to beat her before a time limit is out. Or otherwise, if the trainer is not able to beat Cassidy fast enough, the pizza will get cold, and the pizza will be deemed not fit to be delivered to the trainer afterwards. It may seem at first like it's just a race to get free pizza, but remember, the grill badge is in the pizza box, and the pizza box and its contents will not be delivered unless the battle is over within the time limit. So, and the challenger generally won't know that, you know, maybe the challenger generally won't know that the badge is inside the box. It's just like, oh, it's a pizza or whatever, but I better beat Cassidy before the pizza gets cold or whatever. So the time limit is actually measured in real world time. Like I, the game master, actually put up a timer for the player. All right, it's not like an in-game clock. It's a real world clock. And I basically give the player 7 minutes for each of Cassidy's Pokemon. So it's the number of minutes. It equals 7 times how many Pokemon Cassidy has. So if Cassidy uses 2 Pokemon, then you will have 14 real world minutes to beat Cassidy, essentially. So yeah, I thought that was a lot of fun. So obviously, if Cassidy has 5 Pokemon, then you have 35 minutes. So I think that's a decent challenge. Like that's a decent amount of time, like real world time, if you're efficient enough in your descriptions and how, you know, your roles and things like that. But it's the fact that there's a real world time limit at all puts enough pressure to make it exciting, I think. For the Ice Gym, basically it's kind of like a beauty contest. It takes place it's kind of like a figure skating competition where like there are judges who care about beauty type moves. All right, and you are in a skating rink against Penelope, the gym leader, and there's a crowd there as well, and a crowd and judges and things like that. So not only do you have to beat Penelope, but I had a system of calculating, like basically you need an average of at least 7 points, or failing that, you have to achieve an average score higher than what Penelope got. And Penelope's Pokemon, because they're ice, and a lot of ice type moves are also beauty type moves. You need to be a bit on your A game there to impress the judges. And then finally, the Fairy Gym. I didn't know entirely what to do with this one, but essentially I took cues from Curse of Strahd, and there's this tree that's part of this ritual in Curse of Strahd, And essentially there's this Trevenant there that gives a huge boost to Larry's Fairy-type Pokemon, raising all of his stats by 2 combat stages for the entire battle, and healing 1/10 of its own max HP each turn. So you can either, you have a couple of options here. You can either try to, duke it out directly with Larry's like buffed Fairy Pokemon, or you can try to take out the Revenant first, and then Larry's Pokemon. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, there are, I'm not sure why I did this, because I already had a set amount of Pokemon for each of the... So, I'm going to talk about the Elite Four, and the Elite Four was meant to be a complete mystery to the players until they actually entered Mount Bandon themselves, until all the players each got their 8 gym badges and walked into Mount Bandon. Only then did I explain what was inside Mount Bandon and who the Elite Four was. So if you'd rather, well, I don't know. I'm probably not going to... I don't see myself running this anytime soon. So, but yeah, so here's the Elite Four. First, we have, well, first of all, the prospective champion walks into what appears to be... They walk into the mountain, and they open this door, and they go into what looks like a normal house, oddly enough. They kind of look around, and they're sort of like wondering like what's going on, and they see this mechanic who's kind of like trying to fix the wiring, and she said, "Oh yeah, the Elite Four member should be here any moment now. Just wait here." So the challenger can go around, and in actuality, of course, this person, this electrician, her name is Amalia. She is the first member of the Elite Four, and the Pokemon are Rotom. There is a microwave, a lawnmower, a fan, a refrigerator, a washing machine, and a... is that it? A normal Rotom as well. So basically Rotom that possess different appliances in the house. And so the appliances in the house themselves are attacking your Pokemon. You have to beat them. So I thought that was a cool little touch there. Next up, we have 2 Elite Four at the same time. Professor Ash and Professor Wisteria. They both are over what they call the Gauntlet. Essentially, once the trainer beats Amalia, Amalia takes them down to a secret door in the basement of the house, and they are met with the trainer is met with a hallway that has 11 doors, 5 on one side, 5 on the other, and 1 at the end. Basically, these 11 doors, each of them lead to a different Pokemon. And Professor Ash and Professor Wisteria specifically study Pokemon from different dimensions. And so I always thought the Beast Pokemon, the Dimensional Beast Pokemon from Pokemon Sun and Moon, were really cool. And so I decided to use those as the 11 Pokemon that Professor Ash and Professor Wisteria to go against the players. The trainer has to go through that gauntlet, and then when they do that, then the hallway stretches vertically, kind of like in the Haunted Mansion ride in Disneyland, and revealing another door even deeper. And that takes you to the final member of the Elite Four, Darren Rickton, who just has a normal Pokemon battle. And that's it. And literally his team is normal type. However, he has a few tricks up his sleeve. And the players really, really enjoyed this one. So he has 1 Ditto with normal stats, but then the second Ditto has maxed out speed so that it can do transform at least once. And then he has a Blissey, a Kangaskhan, and then he has an Eevee named Schrodinger. The reason for that is he takes out the Pokeball that has Eevee in it. And he explains to the trainer that he said, "I do not know what Pokemon's going to come out of here. Like, something has happened with this Eevee and with this Pokeball such that when he releases the Eevee is going to be a random evolution." And so that's why the Eevee's name is Schrodinger, because I basically rolled an 8-sided dice to determine which evolution comes out of that Pokeball and which one will go against the trainer. So yeah. And then there is a champion at the very end. I was going back and forth on using one of the players' OCs, Willow, who is a ghost type OC. I did get permission to use the character Willow. If I didn't have permission, I would have used Professor Holly. But essentially, it's a ghost a ghost and sort of dark and psychic type team at the end, and every trainer who beats the champion, or every trainer who beats the Elite Four, they are lowercase c champions. They have their name inscribed on a plaque in the Hall of the Champion. However, if you want to be the capital C champion, you need to beat the seeded champion, basically. And so one of the players did end up beating Willow and supplanting her as the champion. But yeah. I had a bit of a contest league, which not a whole lot happened, but Darren was also in charge of that. A couple of antagonistic groups. Nothing much happened with the Hieroglyph group, which is the group at Camp Zeingeheim. They are fanatics about the unknown. What really more stuff happened with Team Cross, though, which is led by Viscount Magnus von Stradovich. Again, some of them are just like random thugs like Team Skull, but others are more serious. And in trying to help the Viscount in his goal to bring back his ancestral home. And then I had different locations for the various unknown, and yeah, there you have it. That is essentially the Barov region in a nutshell. I will also say I kind of went a bit overboard with what I did with the Nurse Zennies and the Officer Zoes. A focal point of the campaign, at least the story part of it, besides like the gym battles and finding and capturing and training Pokemon and all that, like a normal Pokemon video game, was I made this family tree. And there's this whole like plot where Darren's children are Professor Holly and Professor Ivy, and they're like very old, and Professor Holly was married to the cruel Viscount, but she's separated from him. There's another character named Morkine who was with Professor Ivy, married to Professor Ivy, and they're all like much older than they look. And so I made a family tree to determine where each of so from this pairing comes all the Nurse Zennies in all of the Barov region. All right. And so we have like this, the one from Sund, the one at Mount Bandon, Fright, Mon, Sadra, Tussle, Vaden, and Thurg. The reason why we have these X's here is I didn't want to go much farther than... I was inspired essentially by the Pokemon anime. I used to watch the Pokemon anime as a kid, although I lost interest at around 2000 when the Johto region was introduced to the anime. But I was inspired by the fact that whenever you meet a Nurse Joy or Officer Jenny, they would often say something like, the Ash and his friends would often say, "Oh, wait, didn't I see you back at Pallet Town?" And Officer Jenny would be like, "Oh, you must have met my sister-in-law." Or wait, "Oh, that was my cousin's cousin." And so I decided to make this convoluted family tree. And so that any time, and also, by the way, all the Officer Zoes come from this pairing as well. You can see I did a few different things as well. But yeah, essentially, anytime the players would come across a Nurse Zenny or an Officer Zoe, I could refer to this chart and to determine what the relationship is between each individual, each pairing of Nurse Zennies or Officer Zoes. For example, if the players start at Mon and they go to Tussle, I can go to this relationship right here and see, and so if they see that, okay, cousins, right? Basically, they're second cousins. So we have Mon and Tussle here. They're on the same line. I did a bit of research to figure out what the official terms would be for each of these. It didn't go it was a lot of effort for a little thing, honestly, but I was really interested in that. So if you go from Mon to Tussle and you realize the Nurse Zenny and Tussle looks a lot like the Nurse Zenny and Mon, you could, ask Nurse Zenny about that. Nurse Zenny and Tussle would say, "Oh, you must have met my cousin's cousin." Or if you go, let's see, for example, let's go to the Officer Zoes here. There's more Officer Zoes because I put a few more Officer Zoes in Vaden. That's why it's bigger and more complex. Vaden 1, 2, and 3. So if you went to, let's say, Tussle to Third, let's see if I can get that line here. There we go. So if you go to the one in Thurg, then the one in Thurg will say, "Oh, you must have met my mother," or sisters-in-laws, cousins, first cousins once removed, sisters. I went kind of overboard with that, but I had a lot of fun with it, and the players were impressed by it. So but yeah, that is. But yeah, it's the campaign was it's kind of a special one to me because I did all this work just for fun because I wanted to, and the players seemed to really enjoy it as well. There were times where we had to take breaks and things like that, or figure stuff out with schedules and whatever. But in total, this is the longest campaign I've ever run. 15 months was how long this ran. Maybe the Edge of the Empire one I did back at at my previous employer was maybe a bit longer because I worked at that previous employer for longer than 15 months, but still, this was quite the feat, honestly. Move that and yeah. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun, and it ended. This campaign ended about a month or so ago. But I wanted to share the story about that whole about like the process of like. I wanted to share what I created for that campaign. I didn't necessarily want to share the individual stories because I think, again, those players cared a lot more than most other players I've come across about their original characters and about their original character stories. So I will allow them to preserve those stories. But but I think one of my favorite parts about this, besides the fact that the players had fun, because that's the most important thing, is I just love world building. If it would have made sense to make an original language just for this, I might have done that. But as you can see, I've already done plenty for that. And also for for the final battle against Viscount Magnus von Stradovich, he was essentially a superpowered Pokemon. I gave him the stats of six level 100 Pokemon combined. And he also had all of the most powerful moves at his disposal at all times. So it was pretty much any and all legendaries combined, essentially. And however, the players, 4 of them at the time, were able to all fight against him. And so, it balanced out. It was a tough battle, and it was very satisfying for the players. They had a wonderful, emotional, and satisfactory conclusion to everything, with all the mystery and all the intrigue and all the fun and adventure that happened in Pokemon Crux. So I do not know when the next time will be that I will spend that much time making a homebrew thing. Like I said, I love world building, but it does take a lot of time and effort. And if all you want from me as a dungeon master or game master is just a fun time playing a typical Dungeons and Dragons adventures, I'll happily default to some of the well-written and published adventures. But when it comes to world building, I can have a lot of fun with it. let's go with that. But yeah, I know this is a bit lengthy, but I appreciate you coming and listening. Thank you for being here. And until next time, all the best.